Hello. So if you clicked on this video, that means you saw the title and thumbnail and was intrigued. Well, since you're here, let's start off with some definitions because assuming you are not a fellow brethren, you probably have no idea what Danmei even is. Well, Danmei is basically boys love native to China, the same way yaoi is a genre of boys love that comes from Japan. It encompasses a wide variety of genres ranging from mystery, thriller, contemporary, and of course, fantasy. Specifically, wuxiao and zhenxiao, as well as other fantasy subgenres completely native to Chinese literature. These fantasy stories revolve around the concept of cultivation, where cultivators harness spiritual powers in order to develop supernatural abilities like immortality, super strength, spell casting, as well as being incredible martial artists. This genre had hit the mainstream some years ago and is very popular, not just here in the US, but all over internationally. Danmei has a very huge fan base. I myself have had the pleasure of discovering this genre about 2 years ago now. Shout out to Coley and Kichter for putting me on. I have read so many fantastic stories and come to love so many amazing couples whose love story truly inspires me. So I figure it's time that I do my part to spread the gospel and bring over new readers to our side by offering many of you who are disillusioned by Western romantasy with an alternative. Because when I sat down and really thought about it, romantasy is very much a thing in Danmei. It's just that you don't really see the label because most fantasy Danmei are, titled Danmei or titled by, Chinese genres, again, wuxiao, zhenxiao. In this video, I will be discussing how some of the Danmei series I've read inadvertently addresses a lot of the complaints readers have regarding the romantasy genre. This is a topic that's been on my mind for quite some time now, as every time I watch a video of someone on BookTube talking about the things they disliked in romantasy novels, I always think about like a Danmei book I've read that doesn't have those things. So here I am. So let us start with our first and foremost complaint that exists in romantasy. And that is romantasy, despite having both the label romance and fantasy in its name, don't actually have both romance and fantasy. Or to be more precise, a good balance of both. A common complaint readers have of this genre is that most romantasy stories feel like romances wearing fantasy veneers. The world itself isn't given fantasy, the politics is shallow, the plot is shallow, the conflict feels shallow, and what should be epic storylines get swept to the side for hundred of pages of the characters lusting after each other. And this is where Danmei differs. Specifically in the realm of zhenxiao and wuxiao, the novels our world our main characters live in is a tangible, breathing thing with its own history and problems. We see characters being forced to navigate restrictions placed upon them by their society and the responsibilities they have to bear due to their station. A great example of this would be the classic Motozushi, or the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, one of the most popular names you will hear in this Danmei sphere, and for good reason. This is an excellent story, and one of its strengths is the conflict that exists. A lot of it is caused by the interconnected relationships of multiple individuals, and we see how these relations impact our characters' lives, and in turn, how it impacts the romantic relationship. Our main couple, Wei Ying and Lan Wangji, both are powerful cultivators from prominent clans. This book series shows how the characters' personal desires often conflicts with their external allegiances to their clans and families, and the consequences that comes with choosing one over the other. Consequence. It is a word that had defined our main couple's relationships for most of their young lives. I mean the main character Wei Ying, he starts out at the beginning of the story dead for 13 years. Because of choices he made, because of choices other people had made, he died while having his name be spat upon by everyone. Everyone except Lan Wangji, who lived for 13 years mourning the death of the men that he loved. And even after reuniting, they still had to deal with a lot of craziness before they could finally be together and have their relationship in peace. The world of Motozushi does not play second fiddle to the relationship. It's very much the opposite. And this reminds me of an advice I've heard within filmmaking on how writers and directors should treat the world of their movies as its own character. The same way you would flesh out your main character to make them feel real as possible, you would do the same for the world that they live in. Make it a living, breathing thing whose existence carries weight. Many readers who try to get into romantasy enter worlds that don't feel real, that don't feel alive. But I have yet to come across a story in Danmei where I haven't felt drawn into the world immediately. Okay, so complaint number 2. The romantasy don't feel romantic. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, in many relationships, love and lust are often involved, but people often forget that these two concepts are not the same. They can intertwine, yes, but they are two separate things. In the context of romantasy, the romance is more so characters lusting after each other for 400 pages or more. And while the smut is fun the first few go around, it quickly gets dull as there is nothing else to the story besides the sex. Sex alone doesn't create a meaningful romance. Lust alone doesn't build a meaningful relationship. Romance is all about the development of two people coming to care and support each other. It isn't just in grand gestures of saving the other person from death, although that is fun, but also in witnessing all the little ways that the characters show their love and respect for each other. For me personally, the most enjoyable aspects of reading romance is seeing those little moments and seeing how happy the characters are together and how their relationship encourages both sides to be better. Nothing makes me smile more than reading a scene of two people bantering with each other as they're relaxing in bed on a leisurely morning, or two young adults sharing a split popsicle as they walk hand in hand back home on a hot summer afternoon, enjoying each other's company in comfortable silence. These grounded, quiet moments that fills your heart with so much warmth. What Danmei writers do so incredibly well with their romances is showcasing the intimacy that exists between our lovers, all the subtle changes and how sweet and gentle it can be. The intimacy you get to witness between our sweet, sweet boys in between the chaos and darkness that exists is just so beautiful. The authors take their time feeding us these moments. And speaking of time, that brings us into our third complaint. Listen, if you are someone who need slow burn, non-negotiable, you have to check out Danmei. Oh my God, you are doing yourself a disservice, okay? If you have not checked out Danmei and you are someone who loves slow burn. Right now, I am reading a series called The Dinghai Fusheng Records, which follows our main character who is a young exorcist who must stop the resurrection of an evil god in a world where magic had disappeared, and must do so while only having 4 years left to live. During his journey, he finds his martial protector god, a person chosen by the heavens to be his protector and fated companion. This man is also the love interest. This series has 6 books. I just finished book 2, and while we did have a scene of them sharing a bed together stark naked, these characters are nowhere near getting together. We're not even at the point where either characters are fully aware of their feelings for each other, although they are getting there, and I feel book 3 is where we will really get to see both the main character and the love interest finally get along as friends, at least, as they have both been through so much and have opened up to each other in ways they were not able to do in book 1. And you can bet once we finally see these characters together, it's going to be satisfying as hell because the writer didn't throw these two together in book one and called it a day. The writer of this series is taking their time actually building out the characters' relationships and letting us see all their ups and downs, because going back to our first complaint, the world they live in isn't a cardboard shoebox with the landscape penciled on. And the main characters themselves aren't flat pencil drawings. They both have responsibilities that often clash with each other and serves to drive personal conflict between them. I mean, take the love interest, for example. He is a ruler in charge of maintaining peace between multiple tribes who all have their own problems and differences. Do you really think this man is going to drop everything to become this random twink boy martial god? Like, martial god who? Me? You better go somewhere else before I hit you. And of course, the main protagonist isn't going to accept that because he has his goal with trying to save the world. And it would be pretty helpful to have a powerful fighter battling with him, as he himself don't have strong powers. And on top of that, he's lonely. He is very lonely, and he is very attached to the idea of having someone to share his tribulations with and having that companionship. They start out as strangers, then reluctant allies, then comrades in arms, and now we will see them become friends, and perhaps more than that. And that's what I really love about these long Danmei series. The Danmei writers are not afraid to take their time, and they do such an incredible job showcasing the romantic progression throughout the series. They take us through this journey of watching the characters evolve inside and outside the romance. You feel the buildup, you feel the shifting emotions and changing perceptions as the characters realize there is more to the other person than they realize. Oh, and the pining. So much pining. If you love seeing men pining, you need to check out Danmei. I'm telling you right now, you need to check it out. So much pining, so much of characters wanting each other, and not just for sex, but also in wanting to spend time with that person and wanting to have that person all to themselves and wanting to be happy and feeling they are not worthy of being with this person. As a reader, if you're not yelling at the page for these two to get together already, then something isn't right. If you are a reader who have yet to feel that way about a romantasy book, then I hope this makes you decides to give Danmei a shot. One Danmei I would recommend for slow burn would be Tianguan Sifu, or Heaven's Official Blessing, another classic among the Danmei space written by the talented MXTX. It's a long series, about 8 books for the main series, plus some bonus short stories where you get to see the characters be a couple outside of all of the heavy plot stuff. Heaven's Official Blessing have everything you could ask for in a romantasy: an interesting world, magic, awesome fight scenes, humor, tragedy, and a beautiful love interest who is utterly devoted to his lover. And I mean devoted, okay? I mean, the main character Shilian is a disgraced god, and Wachang is his greatest believer. I'm talking, if Shilian no longer have any worshippers, it's because Wachang is dead. Like dead, because he's already a ghost. But you know what I find interesting is that Wachang is a love interest that kind of fits the romantasy love interest archetype. You know, the one: dark, brooding, mysterious, don't give a shit for anyone except the main protagonist. But one main difference is that by no means is Wachang disrespectful to our main character. Quite the opposite. He is very respectful to Shilian, very attentive. He takes care to respect his boundary, and he never acts in a way that robs Shilian of his agency. Which is also another complaint romantasy readers have. So I guess number 4 is that the love interest is hard to root for because they are carbon copy, brooding alpha males who don't respect their lover. Not here. Read Heaven's Official Blessing. Read it. They also have a Danmei too. Now, I do want to preface that I'm not trying to claim that Danmei is inherently better than Western romantasy, or that the pitfalls that exist in romantasy doesn't exist in Danmei. This genre isn't perfect, no genre is, and you will come across books that don't suit your taste or have things you will not like say toxicity, non-con, age gaps. Looking at you, Erha. I know another major complaint people have for romantasy is how problematic and toxic the romance is, and Danmei isn't exempt for this. So when exploring these stories, please take care to look up content warnings and reviews. But with all that said, if you are someone who find yourself burnt out and dissatisfied with Western novels, then perhaps it's time to really look outside your comfort zone and culture. Danmei isn't American fiction, it's Chinese fiction. All these novels were written in Chinese, and despite the regional and language barrier, this genre was still able to claim the hearts of non-Chinese people who were willing to go outside their norm to explore these stories. The popularity of Danmei proves that there are readers out there who are willing to read non-Western and non-white stories. There are people out there who are willing to learn a whole nother language in order to better appreciate the story in its native language. There are people out there who are dedicated to translating these Chinese novels into English so that more people can read this story that they love. And I think that is something that is worth paying attention to. Within the Danmei fandom, there is so much love and appreciation and unhinged memes, and it's been so cool to see. If you are someone who decides to give Danmei a shot, you won't just discover new novels to read, but new people you can have this thing to enjoy together. And for me, not only have I been able to have so much fun in this fandom, but I have been able to get so much inspiration for my own stories. In fact, I myself am working on a romantasy story, an epic BL romantasy, and I won't lie, a lot of the discussion around the label romantasy has raised just a bit of anxiety in me, since I have this story that I'm currently posting on Substack that I intend to self-publish next year called This Foolish Disciple and His Demon Dragon Master. Still a working title, but that's what I'm just going to call it for now. This is a story I would describe as Motozushi meets Urha, and if I had to choose a label that best described my story's genre, it would be romantasy. You know, because the story takes place in a fantasy world where the conflict and plot is tied to the magical and political system that exists. But at the same time, the heart of the story, the driving force, is the emotional and romantic relationship between my protagonists and how their love develops and changes throughout the various challenges they face. Romantasy feels like the perfect term, but I low-key feel like I'm putting my book at risk by using it due to the negative connotations it has. A part of me keeps wondering if I should just label it as romantic fantasy, but at the same time, it's like romantasy literally combines fantasy and romance. The combination of these words inherently implies that the book has equal parts fantasy and romance. I don't see why I can't use it. And also, ego-wise, I believe I can write a story that does the label justice, a story that combines romance and fantasy and do it well. If by chance you're curious about my story, I'll have the link to my Substack down below. I post new chapters every Saturday. Any feedback will be greatly appreciated as I'm still refining the story. Please let me know your thoughts down below regarding today's topic. I would love to have a discussions, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.